Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing fantastic today. We want to do part 2 on ozone, and I'm waiting for my guest to appear, and she will more than likely just sort of appear on the screen here. And her name is Liesl, and she's also a client of mine, and I'm going to be asking her what her thoughts of the ozonated olive oil are. But first, what I want to do with y'all is talk about what ozone olive oil is. So I'm going to show it to you right here. I make it. I use extra virgin olive oil, organic, and I bubble medical ozone through this. So this means, I know that Helda Clark wrote a book a few years ago about making your own ozonated oil. There she is.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, you're going to have to hang on a minute here while I make my overview. Are you okay?
I'm good.
This is Liesl, everybody. So I was just going to mention that I think it was about 15 or 20 years ago, there was a doctor in San Diego. Her name was Helda Clark. She's now passed on, but she wrote a lot of books about cancer and how to kill cancer. And she believed many things came from parasites. Anyway, she taught people how to make their own ozonated oil. I'm going to try to get, there it is. Okay, I'm trying to get here in this picture. So what she suggested is a little $300 generator you could get on eBay, and then you would just run that through the oil. And I'm sure there's been some value with that, but that is not actually considered medical ozone. When it's medical, that means I've added oxygen. I have an oxygen tank attached to my ozone generator, and my generator is a cold plasma generator that costs between $2,000 and $4,000. So I have a dedicated unit that makes my oil. I keep going the wrong way with this. It's so backwards on here. Okay. And so I have quarts of olive oil that have ozone running through it. And I will have this running for probably, let me just put this down here. Here's my name. And I'm going to have this running probably for 3 weeks. Now, just so you all know out there, we're going to talk about ozonated olive oil, and there is olive oil that's ozonated sold everywhere. I mean, I'm saying on Amazon and various places online. The thing about it is, you guys, if you open it like this, let me show y'all. If you open it and it doesn't, I'm going backwards again. There we are. If you open it and it doesn't look like this, and if you can't turn this upside down like this, and it's not a paste, that is not properly ozonated olive oil, okay? When I make this and I sell this to people, I ask them to keep it in the fridge. The fridge will keep it hard. If you keep it in a refrigeration, you can pass it down to your grandchildren. That's how long it will last. And it will last fully ozonated. That means all the benefits of ozone are trapped within this oil. And that's what we're going to talk about here. So when strong ozone gas is produced from pure oxygen and it's bubbled through extra virgin olive oil continuously for about 3 weeks, the essential fatty acid molecules of the olive oil are changed to become long chain molecules called Ozonoids. Now this all sounds confusing, but I want to say one thing. If you came to me or you bought your own ozone equipment and you want to use ozone, you really can't keep it. If you bubble it in water, you drink it. If you want to use it in the sauna, you have to get in the sauna and use it as it's coming into the sauna. If you want to use it in other ways in your body, you have to take it, in real time. So using ozonated olive oil is one of the only ways we can actually trap the oxygen and the ozone, the O3, within the oil, and all the benefits of it are there, just like you're making it fresh. This is why I would never travel anywhere. I would never go anywhere. I would never do anything without ozonated oil. Why? Okay, I'm trying to do my first thing, Liesl, and I always do this. Okay, hang on. So I'm going to tell you guys really quick about my clients I had about 10 years ago. Him and his wife went to Costa Rica. They've been clients for a long time. And I told them, take your ozone oil with you. And he's like, well, we can't keep it in the fridge. And I said, for 2 weeks, it won't be a problem. Just take it. And I kept bugging him. And he said, well, why do I need it? And I said, well, if you eat the local food and you get Montezuma's revenge, what are you going to do? And he goes, oh, no, we're fine. We're fine. We were really careful about the food. I said, it can happen. So they come back from their trip and they tell me this story. They got to Costa Rica. He said he had it in a little container. It wasn't even this big as this little jar. This is 2 ounces. He had like 2 tablespoons in a little container he had thrown in his shaving kit. forgot all about it. They had 2 weeks there, and about 3 days before they came home, they did a zip line. They were doing zip lines, and they landed in a village, and then the village fed everybody. And he said, we don't know what we got. They think it was ice cubes in the drink. And the next morning, those two could not get out of bed. They were throwing up, and they were the other end too. And then he remembered. So he took it, he said he dug into a shaving kit, and they shared it. And he said, I even licked it out, because if you know how bad this really tastes, it's, you know. He's like, I licked it. We were so desperate. He said they fell asleep, and 2 to 3 hours later, they wake up, and everything's gone. No diarrhea, no vomiting, nothing, gone. That's what I like to tell people about Ozone. Ozone is the bomb. So, Liesl, you're going to hang in there with me just for a few more minutes. When the olive oil becomes this thick gel, it creates ozonoids. When sufficient ozone is saturated in the olive oil, it becomes a very thick gel, and it has many healing properties due to the antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral properties of nascent oxygen. Oils high in essential fatty acids are the only mediums that will allow ozone to remain in an active state for long lengths of time. When refrigerated and closed tightly, the oils retain their ozone almost indefinitely. The famous 20th century inventor Nikola Tesla first discovered the power of ozonated oils and marketed an ozonated olive oil product known as glycosone from 1890 to 1928. So it's been around a long time. So my own stories with it, I mean, I had breast cancer in 04 into 05. I had a lumpectomy done. And so they cut about maybe 4 inches right next to my breast, and then they took out the lump. Well, when I left the hospital, they had a huge bandage on it that they slapped a Band-Aid on, and they said, I mean, an outside bandage on, so I couldn't see it. And then they said, here's your drugs, take these for pain, and then we don't want you to shower or get water on that for at least a week, you know? And I'm going home thinking about ozone. Like, how can I had just started using ozone in 04, right at the time I found the cancer. And so all I had was a lumpectomy. I didn't do chemo or anything. So I get home, and what did I do? I ripped off all the bandages, and I stuffed the ozone gel directly inside. Like I had a whole bunch of stitches, and I just slammed it with ozonated oil. I just kept it on. I never took it off, and it healed extremely fast. And when these were what are those stitches? They dissolve. So you know it just started healing really fast. And I'm happy to say that after I got home from that hospital, I didn't even take any more pain pills. I mean, ozone was great. I felt good. I've also used ozone oil when I should have had those pictures ready. I actually, in 2010, got burns on my thighs right above both of my knees. And it was such bad burns, you could see one of my legs, you could see the bone. And then the other leg was pretty deep. They were pretty bad burns. When I went to the hospital, they told me that they would have to use this thing like a Brillo pad, and that every time new skin came up, I had to scratch it off. And I said to the nurse, I'm like, why would we do that? And she said, well, the new skin coming up to heal could get you infected. So we have to keep scraping it off. And in the burn ward, I could hear people screaming in pain. And I just remember thinking, there's got to be a better way to deal with this. And she said, you're going to get infected. If you do not do this the way we do this, you will be infected. So I didn't want to go in there. I went home. I called a few doctor friends about ozone. And I just, for 4 or 5 months while this healed, I had to sleep with my legs outside the covers at night because they were 3rd degree burns. And I just kept putting coal. It was at first, I'd get the ozone oil out of the fridge and it was hard. And then I would just jam it lightly into the burned areas. And this is an amazing thing, Liesl. It's a complete painkiller. I had no pain. I had no burning. My legs were severely, if you saw them, it looked like the tops of my legs looked like pizza. Like, it was just gross. It was, and I just kept putting the oil on. And I knew that ozone oil was antibacterial, antiviral, antiparasitical. I knew all that. And I thought, okay, if new skin is growing up, why should I rip the new skin off? Why don't I want to let the new skin grow up and then put the ozonated oil all over it. That was smarter to me, right? Thing was, I had to leave my skin open. I didn't really bandage it, but I kept lots of oil on it. And I do have pictures, and one of these times when I do one of these videos, I should have had them ready, but as my legs got well, how amazing it was. And you know, I have a little bit of areas on both knees, above both knees, where it looks a little bit like I had a skin graft. It looks just like the little marks you see when people have skin grafts, only I didn't do that. And that's just the ozone healing the skin. So that's my two stories.
Wow.
It was such a game-changing thing for me, ozone oil. I was just like, I was telling everybody. And at that time, I didn't make my own oil yet. So Liesl here is a recipient of my oil because now, 15, 16, 18 years later, I make oil. So I brought Liesl on here because I wanted her to be able to tell a little bit about her story of her life and any health issues, and then talk about what ozone. What do you think about ozone?
I love it, actually. It's been a game changer for me. Since 2011, I've been dealing with chronic fatigue, and then, you know, other autoimmune type symptoms. And it was just, I was looking for ways to get more energy, get my immune system back on track.
Right.
Had started eating better, you know, being a little bit more, eating more of a keto or paleo type diet, doing a lot of research to see what works for me versus
right.
what is the normal healthy diet. And I realized soon that I couldn't give up meat, but I had to be very picky about my meats. I went and started doing, I got actually coronavirus in December of, not last year, the year before.
Okay, yeah, that's when I had it. Yeah.
Yep. And then it was probably about a month after that. I was still very much in recovery. Did not have, there was no protocols for treating it yet. They didn't even diagnose it with me until afterwards when they realized I had the antibodies.
Right.
And so I pretty much had to get myself out of that. And it took me 3 months before I could start functioning on a normal. What I was, you know, doing, as I'm asthmatic, so I have albuterol nebulizer, as well as my mom's oxygen tank. So I was doing oxygen treatments anyways, which is, you know, just the lesser version of the ozone that you were doing. And then I, in order to try to get more of my energy back, I started doing colonics, and that kind of helped me get to that next level. And then when I found you who did the colonics with the ozone, I could not believe the first time that you did that first ozone infused colonic, the energy that I had for days afterwards. It wasn't just, you know, a day or two. It was a good chunk of days, and I was to the point where I'm like going, oh my gosh, I feel like I could be normal again. You know, I haven't had this much energy since I was in my probably 20s, you know, early 30s. And so it was, you know, I continue to use it, you know, now that I'm using the sauna with you, I'm feeling that on a different level. And then also too, I've gotten, as you know, I've gotten the ozone oil from you, and I make suppositories out of it.
Right.
You know? So, you know, as you know, there's several different ways you can use that. I even, when I went to Sedona a couple of weeks ago, I brought it with me.
That's awesome.
Because I knew I'm going, okay, if I'm going to be going hiking or doing anything here, you know, when we're doing a lot of this stuff, you know, you're gonna need that energy. So yeah, it's been a game changer.
You know, one of the things last year, all the way through the year, I had clients taking the ozone oil on a Q-tip and just putting it in the nostrils. And if you don't know where you're going to be, I mean, I could say this even with the regular flu season or any time, you know, that you're maybe a little nervous, and just putting that right in the nostrils, you're not going to be breathing anything because it's going to knock out any sort of virus, right? And I know that I'm going to get other people on here that I also had used the ozone. I don't think you got the oil in time then. This all happened, your COVID happened before you got the oil, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit. So like at the beginning of when COVID was still starting, I think it was starting in China in October and November of that year.
Right.
They hadn't recorded the first
Right.
cases here in the U.S. yet because they didn't know that that's what it was. They didn't
Right.
think that it was that transmissible.
Right.
So, but then
okay, so we're going to get, what about a little TMI here? When you're doing the ozonated oil, are there things like bowel movements and other things that might be different now for you? I mean, I do colonics every day. I don't know if I told you this, but in Cuba, they actually use ozone rectally for lots of different things. They even have people take it by mouth for H. pylori infection. And on my channel here, I've talked before about H. pylori, which 1 in 2 people in the world have it. It's a bacteria. And it really never goes away on its own, but it can cause ulcers and it can cause esophageal or stomach cancers. So ozone, here this oil is, and it's infused with oxygen and ozone. And people take it by mouth and use it rectally, and it's able to kill the H. pylori, which I felt was amazing.
Yes. Yeah, actually, I've taken it both ways. And when I do the suppositories, I've noticed that if I do it in the morning, then it helps with the consistency of my bowel movements. Yep. Yes, exactly, which is nice. And then I don't, as long as I'm drinking the fluids that I'm supposed to be drinking and getting my magnesium, because that's been also a huge part of the puzzle. So right now my puzzle consists of magnesium, the ozonated oil, and organ meats, because
that's great.
That trifecta right there has been a really good recipe for me.
Yeah. Organ meats are like nothing else. The nutrient density in them, and your body has to make no conversions. It just takes it immediately. And the sickest people, and you told your story right there, and mine is fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, lupus, MS, then the breast cancer, most of my life having been sick. And I said in my last ozone video that, you know, I've done a lot of adjunct therapies. I changed my diet like you. I've done a lot of things, done a lot of colonics, but it was when I added ozone that there just seemed to be such a difference in everything. It's almost like it took everything I was already doing and it made it all alive. That's how I felt. It was just like,
yes, like when I was doing the oxygen treatments with the compressor and the tubes in your nose and everything, which I was doing that anywhere from 2 to 3 times a day when I was dealing with trying to recover from the COVID. And I mean, I even continued doing that after I started gaining some energy to just kind of then be able to get a little bit more energy. I could feel a difference. The first colon therapist that I went to also had the hydrobaric chamber. And so I did that a couple of times, and I did notice a good thing, but it's nothing. The ozone oil is actually seems like, because I'm not sure why, but it almost feels like it goes through every single cell of your body. I felt it more at a deeper level with the ozone oil.
Oh, and we should say that here. So I have had different people who have used it and told me they used it for vaginal infections, for like a yeast infection, and able to pop it, literally, you know, pop it up there. And they've been telling me how it eases the itching, and using regularly will eradicate that yeast infection, which is also wonderful for us. And it's for all, let me read some of these things here. This is a list of it. The stimulating of growth for skin cells. Now, I experienced that when I had the burns. I mean, all the new skin growth was amazing. It has increased healing time for skin wounds and ulcers. You know, I have some clients, and she might be watching this, and having knee replacements, and utilizing ozonated olive oil is really valuable in the recovery, and putting it all around the knees and in any incision area. It cleans and sterilizes the epidermis. What people don't realize about ozone oil is no bacteria or anything can grow there. Nothing, because of the ozonated oil. It reduces swelling and inflammation. And as I said, I felt it was also a painkiller for me. Calms the nerves and reduces the amount of pain, we just said. It can increase cellular function and cellular memory, which I thought was pretty fascinating. Acts as a free radical scavenger. And that is amazing, because I know all these people drinking this and taking this and that herb for free radical scavenging. but really oil-based ozone is miracle that way. Acts as a moisturizing facial conditioner. It says to leave on for 20 minutes and remove, but I've never done it. It's pretty thick. I mean, you'd almost have to melt it a bit and then maybe put a thinner oil like coconut oil with it and maybe mix them together, I'm thinking, you know, because it'd be pretty thick to put on your skin like that.
Right.
I do know a man that took it and he mixed it with coconut oil and he was losing hair. And he used to rub it, he said, before he went to bed at night, rub it between his fingers with this other oil and it was soft. And then he would just, you know, run his hands through his scalp over and over and over. He said he did it. He's still doing it now, but he claims that he has new hair growth just from the ozonated oil, the oxygen. And I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, it also reduces scarring. I just told you that I had a 4-inch scar on my breast surgery, but that scar, not only did I not get scar tissue behind it, you know how usually you get that ropey, I didn't get anything on there. And you can almost not even see the scar. I mean, it's been 15 years, but still. Okay, it aids in healing, reduces scarring, reduces the incidence of degenerative skin conditions. So I was wondering about things like, I haven't used it with somebody with like eczema, dermatitis. It might be a little thick again because it is like a salve. Maybe to mix it with a thinner oil might be the best. Oh, it's really good for animals. So, and I've used it with my animals. So if you put it on their paws and you just wipe it all over their paws, they're going to lick it. Because if you try to put it in their mouth, they're going to probably spit it out. But I had a dog that died a couple of years ago. She was supposed to die 2 years before. I helped. She lived 2 more years, and she had cancer. And I was putting it, gross TMI, but I was just popping like little suppositories up her rear end. And she did good. And she was an older dog. She was a pit bull. She was like 7 years old. But she would just run around, you know, until eventually, you know, it caught up with her because I didn't get her till she was 3 or 4 anyway. But I did use it with her a lot. You can put it inside their teeth if you have an animal, and also humans. If you have any tooth problem, I was just talking to a lady today. She gets my oil, and she told me that they had to open up all her gums below her teeth, and they found an abscess in there. And so the dentist even agreed with her to use the ozone because this was the point. Now I have about 3 people going to dentists that do appreciate ozone, and they'll use ozone water at that dentist's office. But sometimes you can just take it and put it right in the gums, right? If you have a toothache or really bad teeth, you can take a Q-tip or you can take a pick, something to put the oil on, and jam it down inside the tooth, okay? This is like 10 years ago now at my other office, but I had a lady who was told the whole jaw on the one side of her face here, she had an abscess so bad for so long. By the time they found it, they told her they were going to have to do surgery here. So I called one of my doctor friends that know about ozone, and he gave me a list of ozone dentists. So she started calling around, and she went up to a guy somewhere in Riverside County, and he injected ozone directly into the jaw area where she had all the abscessing. And she had to go every other day, and he just kept injecting it, just straight ozone. And it took a while for that to heal, but she never had to have that surgery. She never had to have the complete jaw reconstruction that they told her. And she kept her teeth, which was amazing. And the bacteria couldn't grow because as he's injecting it, there's no bacteria that can grow in the teeth there. I thought that was really fascinating. Another one is sunburn. Sunburn on your skin can be used for, but I want to tell anybody watching this that if you tend to get sunburned easily, one big thing to look at is seed oils in your diet. If you are eating vegetable oils, if you're eating trans fats, if you eat out a lot and you're eating seed oils, you're going to sunburn a lot, number one. Number two, if you really want to get rid of sunburn, buy something called astaxanthin. It is basically what makes salmon look that orangey color and flamingos look like bright hot pink. That is something they have inside them. That is, it's oil, but it's called astaxanthin. Shrimp have it. Lobsters have it. Lobsters are bright red. And it helps humans with our eye. It's an oil, comes in 4 milligrams, 8 milligrams, 12. I take a 12 or 20 a day, anywhere between 12 and 20 milligrams a day. You will never sunburn again, ever. And it's good for your eyes. Your eyes will be amazing, and you will have energy. Just throwing that out there. But you could also use ozone oil on your skin, and also insect bites and stings. So any sting. I had a dog that got stung on her nose with a bee, and it swelled right up. And I just put the ozone oil all over it, and she kept licking it off, but I just kept putting it on, and it just shrunk right away and went away. So that's another one. So infections of the sebaceous glands, and maybe if you have a bad acne, you know, you can end up getting a kind of they're very painful. They hurt. You can put that on those. It can be used as a natural underarm deodorant, which, yeah, I've never tried it. Sounds good though. Hemorrhoids. So you were saying that you insert it. Oh no, you're doing vaginal. So rectal insertion for hemorrhoids. Yeah, be really valuable. You know, people don't understand that hemorrhoids are actually veins. That they're just veins that become swollen. If you have anybody in your family that has varicose veins in their legs, basically hemorrhoids are the same thing. It's just that it's in the anal opening, and they're very painful. And my clients have used ozone oil to put up there, and it really soothes it, and it causes the blood vessels to shrink back, right? That's why you just can't cut them off. I mean, they're blood infused, they're veins. I never used to know that way back in the day. When I was a kid and my grandfather had, you know, we always had the stuff in the bath. I can't remember what it was called that you always had for hemorrhoids, you know? So yeah. So there's other reasons people get hemorrhoids, and we'll do a show on that too one day. Sore muscles, this can be used as a rub, as a paste. Cellulite reduction, I haven't used it for that, but if you could somehow get the ozonated oil, maybe with a brush and brushing the areas of the cellulite, more than likely. Wrinkles, oh, ringworm. Ringworm is fungal. You know, when I was a kid, you got it from your cat. I don't know how else people get it. But ringworm is fungus, and putting ozone on that definitely will kill it. Fungal rashes, any sort of fungal, oh, and shingles. So, you know, with shingles, you'll get a rash like right across here. And I'll tell a lot of my clients, just rub the ozonated oil right into the shingles rash. And it's also, like I said, it's a painkiller, so it helps you feel a lot better. The only thing we'll say, Lisa, what do you think of the smell of it? How do you deal with that?
Well, the smell of it to me smells like fresh air.
It does.
So it's like oxygen. So what I'll do is, like, when I do scoop out a little bit to either ingest it or do whatever with it, there's always some left on the spoon, right?
Yes.
So I'll sit there and I'll sniff the spoon for a while to just get that. Yeah. So I like it in that way.
Yes.
It's not something I want for like a perfume, obviously, because, you know,
well, if it's left
a breath of fresh air.
Don't leave it on the spoon, because if that spoon gets
everywhere in the sink with the whole sink, washing dishes smell like yes, it's like I was outside in fresh air.
In fact, you know what? Okay, I want to say this out loud. Laura or Olivia or anybody, if you're watching, because they watch my videos, they were telling me that somebody left it on a spoon, and their daughter was saying, yeah, everything I eat tastes like ozone. Everything. I had eggs for breakfast and it tasted like ozone. I mean, a little bit goes a long way. So if you do have some left on that spoon, make sure you clean it. Clean the spoon.
Yeah, I don't waste it. I'll sniff it.
Okay, well, that's better. I'll tell you another thing, people, that I do. When I do magnesium baths, and I do them at least twice a week, and I get out, I will take ozone oil. When I first get out, my toenails are really soft, and I just take it and I put it all over my toenails, and then I'll just put my feet up on my.
Be really good for toenails.
Yeah, I either watch TV or I'll read for half an hour, and then I wipe it off. If anybody has warts on the bottom of their feet, if you have any type of wart or anything, especially after you soften the skin like that, so you really soften up and get it warm, and then put the ozonated oil right on it. So when it's hot like that, the ozone will melt, but keep dabbing it on and use it regularly. Because really, you know, what a wart is a form of a viral, it can be virus, fungus. So ozone is pure oxygen. I mean, it's gonna kind of burn it out, really. It's just gonna kill it. Okay, final things it says, bed sores. If people are caretakers looking after people, the oil is great for bed sores, cuts and burns, carbuncles, diaper rash on babies, which that's kind of interesting. Skin yeast, and a lot of people will get skin yeast under their arms and they get rashes, and dermatitis. So Ozonated oil is antifungal, antiviral, and antibacterial. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. I wonder what we haven't covered here. Anything? Oh, athlete's foot, which I kind of said with my feet. Toenail fungus, poison oak, but I don't know how you use it with poison oak. I mean, that'd be kind of okay. Even bruises, any part of the skin that needs healing. If you've cut, you know, you've really got a really bad cut, anything like that. Yeah, that's kind of caught up. So in Cuba, though, ozonated olive oil is being used for ulcers and H. pylori. You can take the oil, and what they do in Cuba is they take empty capsules. So on Amazon or any health food store, you can buy gelatin, or what's the other one? What's not gelatin capsules? The empty capsules. So I know there's vegetarian ones, and then there's gelatin ones, and gelatin ones obviously come from animals. But I get the gelatin, and I get them in 00 size. You can get a single O, 00, or 000 size. And when you go to order it on Amazon, it will show you, okay? And so I get 00, and when the ozone oil is cold and I first get it out of the fridge and it's in a lump, I stuff it into that capsule, stick the lid on the capsule, and I take that by mouth, and in the capsule, it'll go down further. So people can also take that and utilize it against bugs in the gut. Worst case scenario I've ever seen with people taking it by mouth that had really bad bugs. One lady felt like she was going to vomit for like 2 days. She was taking it in the morning and at night, just a little bit. And she said every time she took it, and she had fatty liver, just so you guys know, she had fatty liver disorder, and she had H. pylori really bad. So she said, I just felt really sick at first, just kind of, you know, I had to drink a lot of water, but she kept taking it. And she said she never looked back after that. She felt better. So I would think the average person, if you're not doing any adjunctive therapies and you're not doing anything for yourself health-wise, you might get a really bad headache. You might, like she did, you might just feel a little sick. So just start with tiny amounts. Like I tell people, your baby finger nail, the nail on your baby finger, about that size. Just start taking, you know, little bits. But it you know, the bugs, nothing can stand against ozone like that. Ozone's really the bomb. It's amazing. It's amazing. I know that they've tried to keep it, put it in moisturizers and stuff, but it's hard. It's hard to keep it. I think that's what the problem is. Yeah. So how long have we gone here? How many minutes are we at? Oh, 30 minutes. Okay. I wanted to keep this shorter. Liesl, I'm going to have you back on. And by the way, everybody, if you follow me, Liesl's going to have, or either has, do you sort of have your own channel now?
I do. It's the Inner Sage, Your Inner Sage.
Okay.
On YouTube.
And that's just all it says. Your Inner, say SAGE.
URINNERSAGE.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. And I might even be on Liesl's show. And then she's going to come back over here. So anyway, you guys, we're going to cut this off now because we've just been blabbing our heads off, and we will talk to you really soon. Okay. Bye-bye.